the worst trait of Venezuelan people. Today we discuss.
Welcome to Venezuela Insider, the only place in Venezuela for expats, digital nomads, entrepreneurs, investors, travelers, and related internationals. For more information, venezuelainsider.com.
If you follow the platform from since a while, you know that I'm very harsh against my fellow Venezuelans. I love my fellow Venezuelans, but I have to give them some tough love. And this particular piece of content is not going to be an exception. Today, we are going to discuss the worst trait of Venezuelan people from my own conclusions, from my own experiences. And yes, I know that the individual that I put on the first starting the video, Lionel Messi, he is not Venezuelan, he is Argentinian. But it's something about Messi that I'm going to use him as an archetype in order to explain the worst trait about Venezuelan people. Actually, of course, if you don't know, if you don't like soccer, football, Lionel Messi is considered the best soccer player, football player of history, the GOAT. He recently won the World Cup and is probably the most accomplished soccer player in history. And that, of course, and we already know this, but there is something about Messi, of course, like every successful individual, he had to go through a learning curve, a development curve, and also he commits mistakes, and also he has flaws on his game, and of course, Messi is not perfect, and he's the best player, the best soccer player in history, but there is something about Messi that the Venezuelan society can learn. And this particular trait actually is one of the biggest difference between first, quote-unquote, more developed countries, more successful countries, and less successful countries, according to one of my favorite authors, Nassim Taleb. And that particular trait is the punishment, the harsh treatment of failure. If you see any successful story from any successful individual, you see that failure is one of the parts, one of the steps of success, rather than being the other side of the coin from success itself. For instance, something about Silicon Valley, the Silicon Valley mindset, is that in Silicon Valley, actually, people celebrate mistakes and failures and that kind of thing because success, according to the mindset of Silicon Valley, is just the final step from a long series of mistakes and failures. And it is what it is, because something about how we are taught in school and society and that kind of thing is that we get punished every time we commit mistakes. For instance, in school, the grading system is not in order to learn or develop critical thinking skills. Remember that school is basically just indoctrination for being an employee. It is what it is, being a factory worker, something like that. So they punish you every time you commit a mistake instead of incentivizing the good traits that you have. So what happens first let's talk about Messi. Messi, if Messi was a Venezuelan, let's just put on the same example. Of course, Messi, after winning a World Cup for Venezuela, and Venezuela is not even qualified, haven't ever qualified in order to participate in a World Cup. Messi would be like God. I mean, in Argentina, it's like God, something like that. But Venezuelans, something that Venezuelans actually, they put you on a pedestal if you fit certain criteria. What happens, let's go with the Messi example, is that Messi actually, he is a terrible defender. He is short, so his air game, on the corner kicks and that kind of thing is not very good. He is not good. He is not good at many things regarding soccer, the soccer play. He is not a good goalkeeper and doesn't have to be. If you don't know anything about soccer, he has a particular position that he's not a striker, not a forward, not a midfielder, something in the middle. So the only good thing actually that Messi has is that playing soccer, he can dribble like 4 or 5 people and then either shoot or pass. And that's the only thing about Messi, actually. It's the only thing that is good. And of course, he is a good striker, shooting goals and that kind of thing. Now, the funny thing though is that if he were Venezuelan, on his learning curve, Venezuelans will criticize him because will say, hey, Messi, why you should not be defending better or be better at the air game like Cristiano Ronaldo, that is actually one of the best on that particular regard. Or Messi, you should be a good goalkeeper. And Venezuelans are like that. Instead of seeing the talent, seeing a good trait, what they do is criticize all of the bad traits. So they are very gossipy and critical and that kind of thing. And that's one of the biggest issues that Venezuelans have as a society. So the Venezuelans are very, very, very critical of other Venezuelans. Oh, why he dressed like that, or why he talks like that, and blah, 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 that kind of thing. And actually, I cannot escape that. Most of my trolls and my bad comments come from my fellow Venezuelans. That's why they give me a lot of fuel in order to keep being harsh against them, because I have to be, and I'm doing it for their own good, not for some payback. But the point is that Venezuelans criticize, they are afraid of failure, and that's why, hence, most of them have failure lives, or they have lackluster lives. So other thing that I mention a lot in this channel regarding if it's marketing, economics, dating, whatever may be the case, is status. Venezuelans praise status a lot. So they usually only see the people on the pedestal, but don't see the people on the development curve that is going to take them to the high steps. And I approached this on another video that I call the prodigal son in Venezuela, something like that. Watch that video if you want to. But the main point is that Venezuelans are not going to support you when you are on the learning curve, on the development curve. They are going to support you only when you have the status, when you are the best. On this particular case with Messi, okay, the winning Messi from Barcelona and the World Cup and that kind of thing, they support that kind of Messi. But the Messi that started, in case you don't know anything about Messi's life, actually Messi has some sort of a physical condition, handicap, that kind of thing that required treatment. And Messi actually was a risky bet if you were a soccer team that want to, put it on your roster. And actually he required extra treatment when he was very young. Of course, also Messi, he was gifted with that particular talent that nobody else in history has ever had. So he just was born with that particular talent, and it was just a thing of developing a little bit the talent. So twitching a couple of things, but also you have to take care of his physical health that was lackluster for a young soccer player. Anyways, so on that particular case, Barcelona, the soccer team, took a shot with a very young Messi, pay the treatment, pay the development. I mean, Messi didn't need much of soccer development, only needed the physical development, and they took a shot, and of course, they profited. I mean, that's exponentially, the return on investment was, exponential and very good for Barcelona. And I'm a Real Madrid fan, by the way. Funny thing though. Now, these particular shots in Venezuela are not taken. So people don't like to invest and develop people and that kind of thing. They only want the status. They want the people that are here on the top. They are not developers. They are not scouts. They are not anything like that. And they punish a lot people when they are on the development curve. They only see the flaws. They only see the bad things and don't develop the good things. So the Venezuelan society, regarding people who go outside of the norm, are very cynical, are very critical, and that's one of the biggest flaws on my own criteria that we have failed as a society. Now, the silver lining of this particular discussion is that if you're watching this from abroad, Venezuelans treat very, very good the international, especially the Western international. Of course, if you come from, let's say, not a Western country, still you're going to get a good trip. So, be cool on that. No issue on that. And actually, if you are from the West, actually, the Venezuelans give a lot of leeway to international people, to expats, to foreigners. So, on that particular regard, you have nothing to be worried about. If you come here and you have your curves, things like that. No issue on that particular regard. You're gonna receive a very good treat. In order to end this particular piece of content, the sad thing about this is when you have that particular mindset that punishes try and fail and development, that kind of thing, you got a lot of the winners. One of the questions that I get, and I'm getting this particular question recently, is if we have actually successful Venezuelan people, millionaires and that kind of thing, that they are not with the government and also they are not rich kids, and they are doing it within Venezuela. We have them, but they are very, very, very few, and they're only a handful, and actually they live this great life because I met these particular people, I have dinner and coffee and that kind of thing, and that people are very close to themselves. They have very tight social menus that are very close, so they don't allow the average Venezuelan to be involved. And also we have a bunch of successful people, Venezuelan people that live abroad. For instance, I know a couple of cases in China, a bunch of cases in the United States, a handful of cases in Western Europe, and even a handful of cases in places like Mexico and Colombia. And what happens is that since that particular society doesn't support them when they are on the development curve, they're not gonna reap the benefits of the society of such results. For instance, I'm talking this particular friend that I have in Mexico. She is very good in Mexico, very, very, very successful, but with a closed social menu. Another case that I get on my mind on China, doing excellent over there in China. She doesn't want to come Venezuela for the same reason, by the way. In the United States, we have a bunch of cases, by the way. But the main point is, the people who wants to win, that has that winning mindset, they want to go to the place where they are treated best. Like Andrew Henderson, go where you're treated best. Now, going back with the Silicon Valley mindset, that's why many of these tech entrepreneurs and developers and that kind of thing like to go to Silicon Valley, because that's the place where, according to them, they are going to get treated best. And also, they want to win because that's the thing. I mean, if you are trying to accomplish something in life, you want to be surrounded with the people that are going to support you, not the people that are going to punish you just for trying, just for doing your thing. And that's something that Venezuela wants to become a superpower, a powerhouse on the next decades, something that we have to improve as society.
Thank you for watching Venezuela Insider. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on social media. If you want to work with us, venezuelainsider.com. Thanks again and have a nice day.